Hello and welcome to another episode of the DewatchPod podcast. I am Jorgen Smorgasbord.
And I am Jane with a G.
And today is our last episode of Star Trek Lower Decks.
It's been a journey.
We have watched the best and worst episodes of all seasons according to IMDb in season reverse order.
And here we are at the edge, barring a reflection episode coming up, I suppose.
Yeah.
So we have watched Second Contact.
And
no small parts. I think I
That
saw it
sounds
at the
right,
corner of my
yeah.
eye before you shut the TV down.
Yeah, no, it's no small parts, or just small parts, I forget.
So we're at an interesting impasse here, right? Because we have hit season 1, including episode 1. So we have the full view of how this series has evolved.
Yeah, we have seen the first episode and the last episode, and a fair but not that fair number in between.
And strangely enough, I think we might have the full story of Peanut Hamper in there.
Yeah.
For better or worse.
Indeed. So, the opening episode, Second Contact, tries to pitch this show's concept, which is that it's a second contact crew. That crew being staffed by the insufferable rebel, Beckett Mariner, Boimler is there, and the others.
We get Tendy, we get Rutherford.
Rutherford's date.
That's true.
It was an appearance only for this episode, and then the next season's first episode.
That is true. So really coming full on that. We have actually a surprising amount of stuff that comes back in not just later episodes and later seasons, but stuff that we have actually directly seen.
Yeah,
we
wouldn't know the other stuff I get.
Yeah.
I watched this episode, this TV show. I think pretty close to release rhythm. And let me tell you, a lot of these connections were completely forgotten by me.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think this is good, I suppose, as a parallel to me having watched Black Mirror pretty close to the rhythm of release. But okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty, shall we?
Yeah, so Second Contact has 2 plots. The ship has a zombie outbreak, and on the ground, Boimler and Beckett have a spat.
Yeah, Boimler is set to monitor Mariner. Mariner is trying to do good for the agricultural sector in this second
secretly.
Secretly and spookily.
And they get chased by sort of spidery insects for a bit, and then it's fine.
Yeah, Rutherford has a date, as mentioned. That's
during the zombie outbreak.
They get along great, but then they are differently autistic in the end, and that sets them apart from one another.
The date isn't autistic. I think that's the problem.
I suppose. We've all been there, folks.
And just my marginally interesting note, I think she's an unjoined trill.
Yes.
That doesn't have to mean anything to you.
Okay, sick. Then moving on. I mean, they finally have I guess just Tendy getting introduced to the ship, right? Because she's actually kind of our viewpoint character, at least initially.
Yeah, momentarily.
So we've got that, and it's a different episode, which I think we'll get back into in a bit.
The second, the finale, which we have also watched, is no small parts, in which the crew encounters a starship ship that got fucking shreked by packlets, which I guess are from the original series.
Really?
That's what I inferred from what the show briefly sort of mentioned. Actually, it might be the animated series.
I guess that's some research for our listeners to do on their own.
Yeah.
We will blast through.
We don't care that much.
But yeah, so the second episode specifically starts with them visiting a Wild West planet, which is not important, but while they're there, Boimler's like, "Hey, Mariner, I know your mom's the captain," and this comes across like ship comms.
Oh yeah, that was the conflict.
Yeah, so Mariner throughout this episode is mostly concerned with separating herself from her mother, which is usually a process that takes place in childhood. But when you're in Starfleet, different kind of vibe, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's very packed spaces, so you don't get that much sort of room to separate, apart from the huge holodeck, which should be plenty.
Yeah, I suppose. You don't have Rutherford having buttons that dictate his mood, which is and I don't mean to be too brutal, but it's essentially Family Guy style humor.
Yep.
It's more or less cutaways, but it's fine. It
Yeah.
doesn't take up much presence. And what else do we have in No Small Parts?
Um, I guess Badgie gets back.
Yeah,
I
Banshee and
I
we.
guess he's introduced during the season.
Yeah, and the first introduction of Peanut Hamper is this episode, right?
Yeah, who
There's
also like Peanut Hamper has like a very minor plot with Tendy. There's like, does Boimler have anything?
mostly his
He's just
rivalry with
yeah.
Mariner trying to get a position on the Titan, which
Yeah, and yeah, no, they have a brief encounter with the Packlets, and then they defeat the Packlets after like a lot of sort of tense combat. This show starts out like a lot more action heavy.
yeah, it's a lot more action heavy, but I think fundamentally it's also just like a lot more stuff heavy. Like
Yeah.
this feels like a fucking shotgun blast of stuff,
Yeah,
both episodes.
it's very like it's just like it's not, I don't want to call it tightly written. I don't want to call it
No.
like packed with like
Yeah.
content, with like plot.
There's like fucking what is it called, like peanut wrapping paper all over.
What?
Packing peanuts, that's what I was
I
thinking.
see.
Mushing into every available space.
Yeah,
I didn't even mention, or we didn't even mention, but like in No Small Parts, there's sort of the vague outlines of a plot about Tendy and Peanut Hamper hanging out, because this is Peanut Hamper's
yeah,
first day on the crew, and Tendy's showing her around, and then like there's some implications that like, oh, Tendy's getting jealous of Peanut Hamper because she has a really good suturing laser.
yeah,
And that's where it ends.
yeah. And
The
then Tendy's like, "No, I'm gonna be a great mentor," and that's it.
yeah.
And then she gets betrayed by Peanut Hamper, who we saw the whole episode, so like
Yeah.
everybody turning to Peanut Hamper and going like, "Oh, you could save the ship." Like she's only been introduced to Tendy.
Yeah.
So everyone else should just be like, "Huh, yeah, I don't know who would be a good description for that."
Also,
Um,
I feel like just pure etiquette wise, if you're like, someone's gonna have to save themselves for the safety of the ship, you should just let that question hang. You shouldn't turn at one person in the group. It's a lot of
and
pressure.
then it like enthusiastically yell at them that it's their time to become a martyr for Starfleet.
Josh, you're the perfect shape for the engine vents. You're gonna get cooked.
And yeah, now we have moved a bit far into the episode by now, and we have entirely forgotten making you guess which of these episodes is
Oh,
higher and lower rated.
oh, I didn't forget. I just needed to gather more information here. So I felt like might be the closest season as far as this is concerned. Because like these two feel so different from the rest of Lower Decks.
Mhm.
But I do think the pilot episode, unsurprisingly, feels the most different, and it doesn't super feel like it's found its footing. Like I'm gonna go hard. I'm gonna say I think the pilot episode of Lower Decks is the only episode we've seen so far that doesn't have at least one good line. I can't think of anything from it that I was like, oh yeah, that was nice.
Hmm.
I don't know. It feels a bit like it doesn't really know what it wants to go with. And it feels a bit too much, as we were mentioning during the episode, a bit too much like it's doing Rick and Morty until it can find its own feet. So I suspect that the first episode is the lowest rated, and the season finale, which we've established, typical bias in this show, is the highest rated episode of the season.
Hmm. Now, um, before I unveil the results,
Uh-huh.
uh, I think I should put up one more detail that we forgot to mention with the finale episode,
Okay.
which is that
Riker.
after doing the virus bomb, more Packlets show up, and Riker shows up and dispatches them effortlessly.
Yeah.
Um, so after introducing the fact that we have gotten a
Season finale that also has an homage to a previous series.
Yeah,
It is a bit of a
it's the
1-2
highest
punch.
rated. It's obviously,
I guess I didn't think that much of Riker because like he is just there at the end. But
yeah.
maybe that is enough on its own.
I don't know.
How big's the difference, if I might ask?
It's like it's like uh two, maybe three almost apart. And
Like just like something like 6 to
I think
eight
it's
point.
like 6.9 and like 8.6.
God damn. Okay,
Yeah.
that's solid. I don't know. Like it's interesting to me because like I think having now the experience of later lower decks, these two don't feel that far apart. Like again, it very much has shotgun, you know, packing peanuts vibes to it. Like there's just so much, and sometimes it does very distinctly feel like they go, a plot can be 2 scenes. That's fine. That's all we need to get Rutherford to do
It's
this episode.
astonishing that they like I think the like major difference to like the rest of the show that we see here is that they were not like as reliant on comedy for like filling episode time, and they were just like, no, we've got to like write every single fucking second of this to include like 5 different plots in a half an hour, 25 minutes.
It's also I don't know, like this to me strikes me as the kind of insecurity that like some new shows do have,
Yeah,
because like this at some point I started feeling like they weren't really writing comedy so much as they were writing a process that marks some types of comedy, aka, especially in the pilot episode, talking very fast
yeah,
and like leaving you no space. Because like it's such a contrast to I think it's the season 2 episode where they're like, oh no, is it the Deep Space Nine episode where they're like full, doing a bit about like floating around the space station to buy time before like they talk to the inhabitants, and they're just like doing these long shots and playing dramatic music, cut back any second now, and then do that again. Like if they just felt like they were a bit more confident to be like, no, we don't have to just like we don't have to turn on the machine gun of stuff happening in order to keep
yeah,
people's attention.
yeah. No, but we're in the machine gun era with this
Yeah,
one,
it's
and
bizarre to see that shift so quickly because I don't think season 2 felt like this at all.
yeah, no, I think this is like very much them like sort of finding their feet a little bit during the season, having a debrief and going like, okay, we're shifting gears. We're making
Yeah,
a materially different show next season.
like the finale is definitely significantly slower than the pilot, but there's then another jump into the season 2 episodes we watched.
Yeah,
Like it is multiple tiers of, and then like season 2 to 5 felt roughly similarly paced, I would say.
broadly, I mean
Yeah, like up and down, obviously,
they vary a bit, but yeah.
but yeah, no, it's too much. Like I'm just gonna be real honest. Like we made the comparisons to Rick and Morty, and I'm not a Rick and Morty fan. And you're obviously there, the Szechuan sauce
I
sales.
don't be that cruel.
I'm sorry,
Um,
but you like Rick and Morty more than I do,
yeah,
certainly.
which is a low bar, but I think
I
I
don't.
think
It's not. I don't hate it, but I don't like it.
yeah,
But point being, like, I don't know. I guess it's hard just because we've anchored ourselves to later lower decks. But there is something just profound that feels profoundly dysfunctional about the first episode. Like it just it's not terrible. Like I think the sort of like I think there's the cute subplot of Rutherford on his date and they're like bonding as they're blasting zombies. Like that's am I guffawing at it? No, but like it works
yeah,
perfectly fine. And then but I don't know, like that's the high point, really.
yeah.
I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it is itself yet, and it doesn't feel like the thing it's going for in the pilot episode. I just don't think it works.
I'm not. Yeah, I mean, it's just like a It feels very American. It's just like a massive blast of like bright colors and fast movements.
Yeah, like I was thinking about that too. Like, so the sort of inciting plot element, I suppose, of the first episode, right, is the part where Ransom goes down to do second contact. He gets bit by like an alien mosquito, and then just like the next scene we see him in,
He
he
goes berserk.
yeah, he's just having the full zombie outbreak immediately,
Yeah.
and I'm like, that's not like it's not inherently bad, but it does feel like they couldn't be bothered to have like maybe like another scene where something builds up or anything like that. I,
Well,
I
yeah, I think we do see like one thing that the show does later on, which is just going like, anyway, this plot is resolved now. You
yeah,
may move on, right? Because like the zombie outbreak isn't like it's not a plot in like maybe some of the more narrow senses,
mm,
right? There isn't like a narrative that progresses. It's just like an endless like the well of action they keep going back for, and like there's like a little bit of like mother-daughter plot during, um and then when they're like done with the zombie plot, they just like turn it off.
yeah. I think there's one interesting hint in the first episode that like makes me think that there was a maybe a slightly different plan for the series as a whole, which is that like especially during the zombie plot, there's sort of like this feeling that like yeah, because Lower Decks is about the Lower Decks. It's not about the bridge crew
Yeah.
that the other shows are about. And I think during the resolution of the zombie outbreak, like they are kind of hinting like, oh, this is the bridge crew doing their thing, and our people are just in the background. And that
Hmm.
felt de-emphasized, like in the rest of the show, I would say. Like
Yeah.
it puts very stark contrast to like ya boys that we're actually watching are bumbling around, and then like the bridge crew is like, we found the cure, synthesize it, like here's the plan.
Yeah, I think that is sort of something that is like reasonably prevalent throughout some earlier sections of the show, when the bridge crew like has a like sort of epic plot in the
Mm.
background, and we have like the bumbling plot in the foreground.
Yeah.
And like that eventually like goes away, obviously, because our boys become like bridge crew and like involved.
It also just feel like they're not as interested in future seasons to do that like very direct contrast.
Yeah, no, like in this episode, like the bridge crew are like in the end like kind of portrayed as dicks who are
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, no, sick. Thanks for the slime. We're going to take the like um scientific credits for this one. Um and like at the end of the season we're already doing something else.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. Like it has like like a the other guys mentality at first, and
Hmm.
I wonder if it's just like one of those things where like when you write a whole series, even just like one whole season like that, there's only so much you can do with that, right? Like the bit is kind of done in that episode.
Well,
Like
there's probably like a bit more space to like there's more things you can do with it, but it is just like quite difficult like being like, well, obviously we're not interested in the like conventionally exciting stuff. We're doing shit over here.
yeah,
And yeah,
I think it's just a very finite well, like there are some obvious jokes, and some of those are immediately deployed, and you're kind of like, well, I think I get the vibe. There's
yeah.
only so many times you can do like we're gonna look at the maintenance crews of the pirate ship that Jack Sparrow is on.
Well, I think sort of the issue is that they're not willing to go like always sunny with it,
Mm.
right? Like they are letting the characters like grow and like sort of like improve, right? This isn't like House where like he has like a serious thing every week, and next week like you've forgotten, you're just sitting down to watch some TV. He's an
Mm.
asshole again. None of the previous stuff is ever like going to be expected to stick in your memory, whereas this like these writers are like astonishingly committed to continuity, as we can
Yeah.
tell from the fact that they're just like, oh yeah, no, let's bring out all our season one characters again and like have them like have another day in the sun. Like,
The date comes back in the next season. The conspiracy guy
yeah,
Mariner meets comes back in the
it,
cave episode.
that's like season 4.
Season 3 or 4,
Yeah,
yeah.
like they I feel like the absolute season 5 finale like makes a lot more sense to me now, because like I hadn't quite realized like the degree of like internal like interleafing that they were doing. um
I think there's almost like a sensation of Lower Decks, as much as I've only had like a little, you know, litmus test of it, that like it feels like a fucking RPG campaign or something, where someone is like, hey, like, I wrote down this NPC a couple sessions ago, is he coming back? As opposed to like the more, if you compare it to something like House or whatever, it is much more Monster of the Week style. And part of me wonders just how much of that is like this sort of like generation of media where you get 10 episodes a season and you get maybe 3 seasons if you're doing good.
there is actually like a, I think this might have still been Geek and Sundry, like actual Star Trek RPG show that Lower Decks is like weirdly reminiscent of.
Really?
Yeah,
That's fascinating.
like it's like a bit uncanny sometimes. It's like I think they were just plain straight up cribbing a bit. Um
When was this campaign?
um I mean this was like I forget if they were contemporaneous for a bit.
Huh.
Um but like yeah, no, like you can
Goddamn.
I don't have it on deck right now, but it's called like the Shield or something.
What a beautiful piece of information to drop in our final season of Lower
I
Decks.
didn't think it would be relevant. I thought that would be like very niche lore, but you know, now you've drawn me out.
Yeah, and now I feel very good about making that little analysis.
Yeah, no, but genuinely, like it does just sort of have that like feel of like a like somewhat like something like crafted by like a fairly dedicated small group of people
And so
who
yeah,
who are like quite invested in their like little guys.
I'm invested in bringing it forward, right? And being like,
Yeah.
hey, you remember Jennifer, character who didn't even show up on screen in season 1? We can do something with her, you
Yeah,
know?
no, she's going to like have a like extremely intermittent arc until that like ends in season 5.
It's fascinating, like, in a way, because I think you can riff on this metaphor quite a bit, just like the idea of like, hey, GM, we want to go see a merchant. His name is Bob. Here's an accent for him, and then they're like, well, that's canonized. That's the most important character now for the rest of the campaign.
Yeah, a little
And
bit.
that's kind of like what it feels like with some of these early characters that they were like, we can do like a conspiracy guy who walks by, and then
Yeah,
like couple seasons later, we can just be like, hey, remember that guy?
and I'll be like, no, it's been a year. I'm only going to remember this when I do a podcast about your show. And yeah, no, like there is like this sort of like quite intricate like loving feel to it, right?
Yeah.
Like sort of as it like evolves, where they don't want to be like, no, no, like these people are on the lower decks because they suck. Or like, you know, because they're like they have to be like interesting in a way. So they either like have to suck or they have to be like a little bit heroic. And they can't bring themselves to be like, no, no, these are like the sort of like sh- shit lords of like the lower decks.
Yeah, because when you do something like this, I do think you have the choice of like doing cynical guys who
Mm.
aren't really worth anything, or goofy, and they're going for goofy.
Yeah, and like they can't bring themselves to be like, and because like it's a utopian narrative to a
Yeah,
degree, so they have to be like, well, these people are like quite skilled and competent, so like they will rise. And that sort of like becomes the undoing of the show a little bit, or like of the like initial conceit a little bit, right? Because they can't be lower decks forever like this.
mm, I suppose. I wonder if there is like a different way this could have gone, but I do think it is also like fundamentally true that like I don't think you could ever realistically make a. Now, I'm not saying it won't happen, because of how media works,
Yeah,
but I don't think you could realistically make like a Star Trek show that's like we're taking like noir vibes to it, like everyone's a shithead. Like that's
yeah,
just not what the show like what the universe is about.
No, like it's a communist utopia.
Yeah, like it's would be bizarre to do it just as insane that it would be bizarre to do like a Game of Thrones show about like a knight in shining armor who's always right and chivalrous, right?
Well, apart from the one that they are doing.
Okay, so I was going on another limb, having not seen that show, but even then, like it's still gray, right? Like, isn't
Yeah, no, it's like a good person in a gray world. Like,
yeah,
but like there has to be conflict from somewhere.
yeah.
Um,
You couldn't be like, I rescued a fair maiden, and she was like, cool, thank you, here's your reward, and then everyone was happy.
yeah.
Yeah, you gotta throw in, I don't know, I'm gonna give it a shot and say there's probably some incest at some point.
Not that I'm aware of.
Really? Okay, maybe I should just watch this fucking show at some point.
Um, moving on. Yeah, no, like they don't stick to the concept because they like care about their blorbos. And
Yeah.
I don't judge that. Like they get like especially well, like these episodes are like kind of mid, like comedy wise.
Yeah, I would agree.
And they like get like pretty damn good at like writing very funny stuff.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, oh yeah, no, like even at its worst, like the orbs versus the cubes is like a very good, funny concept.
Yeah.
And like
They're not creative at all.
and yeah, no, they just like they shift gears like after season one and go like, no, no, this is going to be like a screwball comedy, and like we're still going to be doing like the big plots, but then they're still going to be unimportant. But now they're not going to be done by the bridge crew anymore. It's just going to be done by the characters while they're having the much more important sort of weird comedy stuff happening.
Yeah, like I think I kind of feel like going back to like my original point that like it feels like a big thing that happens after this season is that they
Mm,
just kind of like find their locus of comedy, right?
yeah,
Like every show has this, but this thing like it doesn't feel like they have found their own one. They are just kind of like doing it. And we made a comparison to Rick and Morty. It's not literally just Rick and Morty, right? Like this is also like this at least goes back to like Family Guy, right? Of the like we talk fast, we throw
haven't
out.
seen it.
I unfortunately have seen
I'm
not
sorry to
huge
hear
amount.
that.
Yeah, I know, I
Mm,
know. I haven't seen like a lot of it, but I think I've seen enough of it to know that like that is kind of like a
yeah,
fundamental idea of just being like we talk fast, we show things that are supposed to be funny, and then we just keep moving on, right?
yeah.
And that doesn't work here, and I couldn't say exactly why, but on some level it does feel a bit soulless. Like they haven't thought about like what are we actually doing here with our own thing rather than just being like, hey, this is a process we've seen work in other shows.
Well, I know. I reckon they were just still working through it.
Well, I think that's true too.
Yeah.
Like I'm not even saying that this is like a conscious process. I think
Mm.
I think everyone does this with new media.
I
Like,
mean, like, I have to like stress, like the opening scene of the show is like astonishingly like, ah, yeah, no, like Mariner is just like a drunk, fast
yeah.
talking person who's like, oh, I'm going to take you on an adventure, dickhead. Right? Like she is just like Rick
Yeah.
initially. Like that is the and there's more to it. Like they don't go for like, ah, yes, and there is an empire of Ricks in the universe. We have crossed over the dimension. They don't do that. They're
No,
just like,
no.
anyway, and she has reasons to be mad at Upper Decks, I guess.
There's a very like core process that is going on here that's just being enacted. Like I think this is like to me, I think of Roger Ebert's review of like what's the Battlefield Earth of like the director has figured out that sometimes good directors tilt their camera. He just hasn't figured out why. And that feels like what's happening here, right? This is a technique you can absolutely use, but it needs some thought behind it. And
Yeah.
it needs kind of, I would say, even given this was made in like 2021, right? Like I think by that point, this technique is so established that you need to do your own thing with it.
Yeah. And eventually they get there, and
Yeah,
it partially boils down to doing like a lot of like weird little winks about like bizarre Star Trek lore
yeah.
and talking not quite as fast.
Well, that's the thing is like I wouldn't call like later Lower Decks a slow show by any means.
No,
I think it has like quite a quick pace most of the time.
but they cut down on like the like bombardment. They cut down on the action, right?
Yeah, and they cut down on the like pure slapstick, I would
Yeah.
say. Like it's still it's still like a comedy cartoon. It's not like it's not present, but it felt a bit too central in episode 1, I would say.
Mm.
There's a strangely extended scene of Boimler getting, I need to be careful with my words here.
Whacked about by a sort of spider flea that is like the size of a small house,
Okay, that's a lot
of a
better.
shed.
That's a lot better because I was gonna say sucked off, which is like, he's being sucked.
I mark all of the episodes as explicit just because I can't be fucked to like work out whether we've said anything explicit or not, and we tend to.
Yeah, we do.
So
I guess
we're not losing.
suckled is the way I would put it, because this spider is almost eating him. But yeah, like it goes on for, with all due respect, probably 5 times longer than it needs to, and it's just funny noises and movements, and you kind of go like, I get it.
I'm gonna be honest, I think it's pretty funny.
Okay, well,
There's like a farmer.
I'm not the demographic for this.
Yeah, no, I'm like it works better for me than maybe it should.
I think that's fair. I think there's lots of things that work better for me than it should. So,
And like they're not like terrible at selling it, but like it's not a good bit.
no, I think that's kind of the central thing, is that just like, I don't know, like that's something I will say, and maybe this goes into the recap episode more so, but like I think Lower Decks has an incredible ability to know what like works and doesn't.
Eventually,
Yeah, make exceptions for a couple of things,
yeah,
which
takes a bit, but they get
yeah,
there.
and the point of this, the way we're doing this podcast, directly targets when it doesn't work.
Yeah,
So, oof.
unfortunate. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Is there anything else?
No, I'm still like, I know this is weird, but I'm still genuinely trying to think of like, was there like a good line in the first episode? And I can't think of anything.
Like nothing like medical venom.
That's a good one. Okay. Again, maybe this is for the recap episode. I do still think that maybe the single best line in the entire show is, unfortunately, from Of Cubes and Spheres, or whatever it was called.
Well,
They're just forming larger versions of themselves. They're not creative at all.
like they find their feet with ransom quite late, but they find them.
Right, that's actually something I was going to think about. Is that like in episode 1, he's kind of a pathetic little bitch.
Yeah, no, like they struggle working out what to do with him because I think it is like a quite interesting and delicate process of like how to like get humor from like a like particular type of masculinity, and
Yeah.
like they struggle with it for a while.
I think about that too. Like the thing they mentioned, like, because like he is a central bit character, right?
Yeah.
Like his thing is that he really likes working out.
He actually like has a few like character focused episodes.
Interesting. Because like I'm thinking, apart from that, like the main thing he's there for is to be like the bridge crew person they talk to when they don't talk to the captain.
Yeah, no, he's like,
and he's like a little grumpy, but otherwise pretty normal about things.
Like he's sort of like he's a quite direct homage, I want to say, to like the sort of like a bit more like aggressive like foil to each captain, where the captain in the episode has to be like, yeah, no, I am wise and considerate, and then there's the aggressive foil. Like Olan is a little bit this. You have Riker in TNG.
I mean, Kirk in the season 1 episode of Strange New Worlds, right, where they go back in time, and Pike. Kirk is the one being like, we should just start blasting, and Pike is like, we should talk.
But again, Kirk isn't part of the permanent cast. He's
I know.
just in all the highest rated episodes because people are rubes who fall for fan service.
That's right.
But yeah, no, like there's always like sort of the hothead to compliment the captain.
Yeah.
And he is that.
But it's interesting in episode 1, like he doesn't do that much.
Yeah, he goes berserk.
And before, at the end when they are curing everyone, he's like, "Please let me out. I am but a man." Like he doesn't get a lot of lines, but I think he's shortly portrayed as being like a bit helpless.
Yeah,
and that's very.
Yeah, no, I mean that's sort of part of that conceit, right? That the bridge crew suck ass, and then they're like, "Oh, but what if they didn't?
Fair.
What if we had more Blorbos to play with?"
Yeah, it's just an interesting. Like, I think Ransom is one that never fully landed for me. Like, I don't dislike the character, but like, it does feel like they. I wouldn't even say he gets flanderized. I think if anything, he might get unflanderized, but they don't really know
Oh,
where that leads him.
yeah, no, it's an interesting one. Like we don't really have the arc with Ransom like we have with Peanut Hamper. Um,
Which is very strange.
so I don't think we can like dig in that deep on that one. But he's an like he is like one of the sort of culturally more important characters in my opinion because like he like reflects anything that society is wrestling with, which is like, what about men?
What about fellas?
How
I
are they doing?
and if you want to know that, you should watch the Louis Theroux documentary.
Yeah, he is a very funny man.
Like, it is interesting, I guess, in a way, to want to reflect that current preoccupation in the real world,
Mm.
in a world that I'm pretty sure has just like straight up 100% gender equality.
Yeah.
Like, there's actually like this is an extremely small detail, but during the date in season or in episode 1 of the season, like Rutherford's date makes like a little comment about some like other officer that's like, oh, I think women are his final frontier, and I was kind of like, oh, okay, like it wasn't like oh shit, but it was like oh yeah, like I never hear anyone in Star Trek talk about gender.
Yeah, no, like they're the conceit is very much like that. It's like racial and gender equality, like completely.
Yeah.
Like it is just a utopia that's going around going like, hey, you want to get in on this? I think we've got stuff worked out pretty well.
It's actually like it makes me think. This is a very slight aside, I think, but it makes me think of like how in Mass Effect, like they clearly wrestle with that
Mm.
because in Mass Effect 1, people will make sexist comments at you if you're a woman, and then in the rest of the entire universe, that never happens. Like from Mass Effect 2 onwards, they're just like, oh fuck it.
Yeah, no, like it's a very difficult thing to be like, no, what if we had just a world that didn't have some of the bad stuff we have? But like it's hard to extrapolate from that.
It's also like I think this is a much greater like cultural discussion, I think, but like
Mm.
if you're doing sci-fi, it's very easy to just transplant racism. It's a lot harder to transplant sexism, right?
Yeah.
Like it just what else are you gonna do?
Well, yeah, you either like if you want to do sexism, you have to do cyberpunk.
Yeah, either that or just like you have to do racism in a weird way where you have to be like, oh, this specific species is really like sexually dimorphic in some way, and then you kind of like that's not really equivalent, and also it still kind of goes back to like the species being the central thing to
Mm.
discuss, which goes back
Yeah.
to racism most of the time. I don't know, it's just like a little strange bubble because I think you can do anything else in sci-fi very easily.
Yeah, no, like it's that one's more difficult to introspect about
This is why
because
the 1960s really nailed it. We're just like, ah, the woman robot does it. The woman robot does the laundry.
well, I guess this one does tie back into Robot Fucker season. Which is like,
Yeah.
oh, what if we found a new way to think about sexism? Um, yeah.
Yeah, we can get there.
You can revisit that one. I think it's quite well liked.
Yeah, the robot fucker season. Or...
Yeah, by going by listens at least.
Oh, nice. I mean, everyone wants to get in on robot fucking in some way. Whether
That's
whether
right.
you're doing the deed or you're the robot or you're the person on the side criticizing
Though
it.
apparently in lower decks you get downrated for that.
Really?
Well, we had the
Oh yeah.
robot fucker
Listen, that's a
episode.
unique fucking situation. To be honest, I'm gonna come out. I'm doing the hot take. I mean, the bad part of the bird robot sex is the bird. Okay, that's my position on the
What?
matter.
No, it's Scarlet the robot. She's very annoying.
I can't have this discussion. I'm willing to drop the
Um,
hot take. I'm not willing to follow up.
yeah. Oddly, also no robot characters. I guess we have a cyborg, which is also very. I think that's just genuinely like a quite new thing. Well, I know Jordy's a cyborg, but he's like an. Well, he's augmented.
Doesn't he just have a sick visor?
He is blind underneath that otherwise.
Ah.
So he has like neural implants to like connect the visor.
This isn't like Star Wars where everyone is like a little cybernetic.
No.
Okay, fascinating. I didn't know that.
But yeah, no, that's more of a absence than like a notable through line. That's it.
Wow.
Very nice to see where it all began and to be like shocked to see all the Rick and Morty that maybe got the show greenlit in the first place. I don't know.
I think before we settled on the Rick and Morty interpretation while we were watching it, I was like, okay, they're going very fast. This is we only know we have a season to do stuff. We need to get as much fucking stuff
They
out the door.
cliffhang the shit out of us.
I guess, yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, no, Rutherford, amnesia, Boimler transferred, Shax dead.
Right, yeah, sorry, I realized they never followed up on that. Sorry, I thought he was like
He's back.
Yeah, no, I know he gets back later, but like I don't know.
He's dead. I don't know how he's back later on, but it's like a bit of a thing.
I genuinely felt because there's the like funeral scene for him followed by
Yeah.
Mariner getting chewed out by her mom in her office. I just straight up thought the dude would like bust through a door being like, "I'm back, Captain." I didn't think they were gonna linger on it at all.
Well, this season he's dead. Next season, not so much.
Rest in peace,
Shax.
Shax. What a name. The Shax symbiont, sorry.
Oh no, he's entirely different.
Yeah, what's up with him?
He's Bajoran.
I don't know what that means.
That's Deep Space Nine stuff.
Alright, well.
That's why he hangs out with Kira in Deep Space Nine.
We'll get back to that in a couple of seasons.
In a lot of seasons, yeah.
But you know what we'll do first?
We'll get a big recap episode of
episode.
Lower Decks.
Ooh.
Even more recap than this one.
Ooh.
And we'll let things settle for like a week or something.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the recap side.
That's right.